So let's just jump in right in. We see major stock markets in Africa were negative at intraday. Nigeria's NGX traded lower at 0.04%, but at the time I checked much later, 0.8%, 0.08%, and going down forward. Let's see if they will rebound at the close of business. We see extended profit taking happening at the NGX. Let's look at South Africa and GSC. The index was trading also down 0.34%. That's over a third of a percent. Elsewhere, EGX 30 in Egypt was closed for the week, but in positive territory. We see it up 1.24%. Meanwhile, the Nairobi Securities Exchange closed Thursday's session in green territory, up 0.93%. But let's dive deeper and see what's driving sentiment still at the NGX. We will see a rebound at the close of business. What are stocks investors trading or fading? And Chinazom is our senior investment broker at Patient Securities, joins me. Good afternoon, Chinazom.
Good afternoon, Will. Thank you for having me.
Chinazom, profit taking has extended. We see that extension for second trading day now. How long do you see this continuing for?
So with a lot of trends, at times we see them carry on for 3 days. But in this particular instance, you have to be mindful of the fact that we're coming to the end of the month, and it's the end of quarter and it's the end of half year. So of course you can expect that there's a lot of profit taking, portfolio revaluation, and just window dressing that is going on in this period.
Oh, so not investors putting in money. I thought it was the end of the month, and you know, when people get their salaries, they just want to invest it somewhere. But it's the opposite we're seeing right now. But what stocks are driving the sentiments at intraday? Can you tell us what investors are trading or fading at the moment?
First in the bank specific, Access, Zenith, UBA. We saw large volumes and values in those banks. We also saw large volumes and values in securities like Elalik, Caverton, and Japo opened strong this morning. So those are the companies that were really driving volume and value as at midday.
Okay, but if what's happening with the banking stocks? Is it just profit taking? Because you see Access Holdings, we'll zoom in on the banking stocks. Access Holdings is trading down beyond the VWAP level, so it's like about 22 naira right now. Do we see it going higher or going lower for Access Bank, for Access Holdings rather?
We've seen a lot of volatility in Access. Even the days that it opens high, it tends to fluctuate a lot within the day. So the volatility in that particular security has been quite strong. Current levels are not indicative of where it's likely to close, because we also have been observing that there seems to be a lot of transactions that happen towards the tail end of the market. So they might still surprise us with where they close today.
Okay, so let's look at the agri space now. That's the consumer goods sector. Presco is currently on full offer, although the price has not changed. But being on full offer, does it present a possibility of closing lower today?
I mean, you know, with the market dynamics, a certain volume needs to be executed for that price to change. We will have to wait and see whether that happens. It's important to know that with Presco, we've seen a lot of movement this year. The company started out the year much lower, so there's a lot of appreciation. You can expect that with this being the end of an accounting period, a lot of investors are going to be looking to book that profit. And of course, there's a psychology to trading. If you see a lot of people are willing to sell, sometimes that just means that stimulates people to want to wait and buy low. So there's some of that psychology playing out in Presco. But of course, it's a company that had a very impressive Q1 numbers. We expect to see impressive Q2 numbers. So we are still watching to see how that is going to play out in Presco. And it's important to note that the security is still ComDiv. It doesn't mark down for its full year dividend until July 4th.
Okay, so while we wait for the earnings of Presco and maybe like dividend payouts, let's just look at what happened yesterday and how that filters into the equities market. So the President Bola Tinubu signed the tax reform bills yesterday. How does that impact equities? Can you give us just a brief one?
I mean, for the equities market, that impact is going to flow into how those reforms are going to impact the listed companies. for the investors themselves, for shareholders, a lot of our participation is dividends that the tax on that is deducted at the registrant. But for the companies operating in that space, we're very happy about the fact that some of these reforms are going to streamline the tax system and reduce the burden, the double taxations, the multiple agencies. A lot of listed companies talk about the fact that there's a burden to regulation, there's a burden to complying with the, whether it's audited financials, whether it's the reporting or the returns. So streamlining things actually makes it easier for these companies to operate and operate profitably. We're also optimistic that the ease of business aspect of it is going to flow in through the economy and make Nigeria more attractive, even to foreign portfolio and foreign direct investment. So we're optimistic that it's going to reduce the tax burden on listed companies. The exemption of tax of VAT on critical products and sectors might also mean that we're going to see the companies that operate in those spaces seeing their sales volumes going up. So it's all very positive. I've seen a lot of reactions, and it's the implementation with the Nigerian government. It's always implementation. So we hope that these fantastic policies are implemented well.
Yeah, we always have these fantastic policies, but the enforcement implementation is where we have that weak Achilles heels there. But we hope the government works on this, and companies ease their cost of doing business, and double taxation is not, it possibly will be a thing of the past. So final trading day, Chinazom, how do you see the market closing?
So with where we are currently, I think it's going to be mixed. We might not close positive, but I expect certain securities are probably going to close higher than where they're currently trading. We've seen it play out in some of the banking stocks in the last few days, that even though they trade lower within the day, towards the end of trading, the buyers come back in and pull it back up. So we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be mixed to bearish.
Okay, so Chinazom, you're just standing in the middle ground there, mixed to bearish. We'll keep an eye on that. Thank you so much, Chinazom, Senior Investment Broker, Parthian Securities Limited. Thank you so much.
Thank you.